Hello, and welcome back to Civilization Education. We last left off at the end of Book 1. Socrates has finally silenced his opponents and believes he's finished discussions for the evening. The just has been defended as good and profitable, and the unjust as the opposite. However, new challengers appear. Glaucon is very disappointed in how things played out between Socrates and Thrasymachus. He believes Thrasymachus was swayed too easily by Socrates. Glaucon still holds that it is more profitable to be unjust than to be just. Glaucon begins his argument by positing there are three kinds of good and wants to know which of these kinds of good Socrates thinks justice belongs. The first being a good, quote, we would choose to have not because we desire its consequences, but because we delight in it for its own sake, such as enjoyment and all the pleasures which are harmless and leave no after effects other than the enjoyment in having them. The second is, quote, a kind we like both for its own sake and for what comes out of it, such as thinking and seeing and being healthy, end quote. Lastly, quote, gymnastics, exercise, medical treatment when sick, as well as the practice of medicine, and the rest of the activities from which money is made. Socrates says justice belongs to the second form. Glaucon believes it belongs in the third form, saying, it seems to belong to the form of drudgery, which should be practiced for the sake of wages and the reputation that comes from opinion, but all it by itself it should be fled from as something hard. Glaucon's main desire is, quote, to hear what each is and what power it has all alone by itself when it is in the soul, dismissing its wages and its consequences, end quote. He will put forward his argument in 3 steps. 1. What justice is and where it comes from. 2. Those who practice justice do so unwillingly out of necessity. And 3. It is fitting they do so, as being unjust is more profitable than being just. This already makes Glaucon more intelligent than any of the interlocutors before him, as he built his argument from the ground up and is not throwing out claims and trying to plug holes poked by Socrates. For the first step, Glaucon puts forward that justice is the natural order, but suffering from injustice is greater than the gain from doing it. And those who only ever suffer from injustice and never gain from it join together and pledge to neither do injustice or suffer it. They put forward laws determining what is just. Thus, the true man who commits perfect injustice would never agree to such convention and would in fact find it repulsive. Something interesting here is that what Glaucon has put forward is almost the exact opposite of what Thrasymachus said. If you recall, Thrasymachus believed that justice was the advantage of the stronger, and rulers put forward laws that benefited them. Glaucon suggests that it is the advantage of the weak. Laws and governments are made by those who can't get away with injustice, and so to band together to protect themselves from it. A true unjust man would find such things detestable. The second point put forward is where we get the thought experiment known as the Ring of Gyges. I won't explain the whole thing, it's easy to find online. Essentially, Glaucon is saying that those who practice justice do so unwillingly. Given carte blanche, everyone would commit injustice, even those whom people would call just. Thirdly, to properly judge whose life is better to live, the two must be placed in opposition, similarly as they were before. The unjust man does perfect injustice. He is rich and powerful, receives honor and glory of being just, though he is not, and if he is to misstep, he is cunning and capable enough to right the situation in his favor again. The perfectly just man's life is the exact opposite. Now, before Socrates could respond to Glaucon's argument, his brother, Adeimantus, jumps in. His argument is rather interesting. While his brother is concerned about the nature of justice, Adeimantus is concerned about the rewards of justice. As he points out, children are not extolled to be just because it itself is good, but because of what a reputation of being just can get you. So he's asking Socrates to show that if being just is actually good, and not solely seeming just is good, then he must show that the just man receives all the rewards that come with seeming just. This has been a troubling point so far. In an effort to discover justice, everyone has taken everything from the just man to understand why he would still be just and show it's not just for the rewards. Adeimantus argues that if justice brings rewards, a just man should receive them and still be just without only seeming to be just. Socrates is taken aback and very well pleased with the arguments the brothers put forward. However, he admits that he is incapable of satisfying both of them if they weren't content with his argument against Thrasymachus, which, if you recall, was less of a great debate and more a battle of rhetoric. Therefore, Socrates suggests that together they build a city in speech, and that by finding justice in the city, they might find justice in the individual. For anyone familiar with the Federalist Papers, this concept should sound familiar. Quote, "But what is government itself but the greatest of all reflections of human nature?" This is where we'll stop for this video. We're finally getting into the meat and potatoes of this work, and we'll begin to start seeing real divisions in how people see the world and the underlying presuppositions of those worldviews. Let me know in the comments what you think of the arguments of Glaucon and Adeimantus, or what do you think of Socrates? Has my understanding been fair thus far, or no? This has been Civilization Education. See you next time.